Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. I believe everyone can hear me and can see my screen. Yeah, trust you had a good night rest. And how is the assignment going? I've seen that most of you have not been using the form to ask questions. So I don't know why, but the best way you can easily ask questions and you'll be answered is by using the form. So please try and use the form um, as much as possible to ask your question. Today, I'll be attending to question you put in the chat box here. And yeah, firstly, then I want us to talk about the other project we are working on. So a bit of advice. I guess the way we are going to go about the project is not that we are going to be having the live session due to some reasons, but we are still going to be having something like I'll walk you through how we are going to be doing it. But just like this time, I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to conclude it. Then, if you have any challenge, you can always message me about it. Okay, so I'm trying to check messages on. Okay, I don't really have messages on here. Yeah, I would like. Okay, I don't think we do really have message. So now, I believe most of you have finished your task. The task is just a simple one. I would like to talk about some CSS selectors today. I would have loved to. Okay, let me use. Let me still use. What do you call it? What's the name of this thing that's giving you sleepless nights? Okay, I want to use code pen. Replit. Yeah. I'll be using Replit for this. So we'll talk about different CSS selector that we have. I think it has been explained in one of the tutorials. If I was one that talk about it, I would also like to add one or two things to it. Though most people usually use class selector or ID selector, which is very fine, and which basically we are going to be using for the project. But there are better ways of doing things, or the advanced way of doing things. Suppose you are going to be writing an HTML and CSS interview, you need to show why you understand the CSS or HTML better than the other candidates. So yeah, so we're talking about selector here. I can change my title here to selector. So this is the previous class we are having. Did I talk about selector? Why is it looking like? Okay, I think we have talked about selector. Yeah, we'll talk about selector. This look like we have talked about it. So the other thing I would like to talk about is CSS variable, but I'll prefer to use VS Code for that. This is my VS Code. Now I'll be balancing it with my other tab here. So this is Zuri. Okay, I can have a simple CSS dots. CSS, anything like that. Yeah, I want to use index.css. So now I can go here and I can go here after my title and I can say CSS. Sorry, it is style. I'm linking CSS. So it's just my index.css. That's the name of the file. We have to check if it's running. So that will be a good way of doing it. I can say a background of red to be sure that everything is working. So if this is a background of red, I can come here and open it with a live server. So I hope that is clear with everyone. I don't think I believe everyone should be clear with this. It's not already running. I'm saying you should run it now. Open with live server. Okay, I think I'm using this browser. Yeah, I'm using this browser. Okay, now as a CSS developer, the best browser to use is this Firefox. The reason being that Firefox gives you a lot of debugging tools. You can easily inspect a lot of things with Firefox compared to Chrome or Brave. So I would advise if you're having challenge with your especially when you're talking about layouts. I think this now is the next class. When I'm talking about layouts, it is better you use for you to use Firefox for debugging. You will enjoy it and it will give you a clearer view of what you are doing. So with this being said, I believe everything is working. Now I want to talk about variables. We have variables, and people that have known have an idea about JavaScript. We said CSS is not a programming language. Then why does it have a variable? Yes, there is a way we can use variable in our work. I'm going to assign for CSS variable. So this will help us to write reusable code, or it will reduce the way we are going to be writing code. I was telling someone that today that CSS developers, they are always lazy. It is good as a developer that you are lazy. Lazy being that you don't want to repeat yourself. Something that you can do once, you should not do it twice. So that's why you are a developer and why you have to be lazy about it. So with that being said, among the aspects of you being able to not being able to do something once without repeating yourself is by you using CSS variables in your work. Yeah, one of the things we have been taught is this will mean by what universal selector. This selects every element inside it. And before we go to the variable, one of the things that is being written there is you have to. It's just one of the things that you should always do. You should always remove the padding and the margin. I work on an existing project, and I think I was using Bootstrap, and I was so frustrated. Why? Because all the element has a margin. I have to start forcing important to be able to remove the margin. So the first thing you do at the beginning of your work is to remove the padding and the margin. You can use something like this. So any studio element tool that you had will not have padding and will not have a margin. So this should always be the first thing you are going to be doing in your work. You should ensure that your padding is 0 and your margin is 0. Another thing is box sizing should be border box. I guess this box sizing, this box model has been explained in one of the tutorials. So please, what kind of project am I supposed to add to the CSS assignment? I don't have any project to need to. I don't understand your question. So now this is what we have here. So I think one of the tutorials I've explained how we are going what box sizing is. Box sizing is a typical example of box model is this. Our box model is like our house. The element, the place we are staying is the contents. The place we are staying is the content, and our surrounding is the padding. You know, after your house, where you park your vehicles, your cars, is where we call our padding. These are the place surrounding. These are the place surrounding elements, and these are the place surrounding your content. That's your house. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you look at it, this is our content now. This is exactly our content. Now, the area surrounding this place, because I've removed all the padding and margin, nothing you can see it's telling you 0, 0. If I comment this out now, Ctrl Z, if I comment this out now, you can see now it doesn't have the padding. but it has a margin of 1 rem, which is not too good. I don't really like it. And that's just the best way. We work on a plain ground. So now everything here has been removed. So this is the padding here is what we call, let me say, our surroundings in our compound. This border here is our fence, while the margins are the spaces you leave before you reach the road. If you are living close by the road, you always have some spaces or some distance, either for drainage or for anything. Those are our margin. So that's just an illustration of what the box sizing box model is. And we have box sizing. How do you want your box to be? If you are using H, which H are you using? Are you using H1 or H2 or H6? What H are you using? Your question is not clear. So what I was like saying. So so this I will go about it to ensure that there's no padding. Okay, we're talking about box sizing and border box. We have in our box sizing, we have our content box, we have our content box, and we have our border box. Now, what we mean by border content box is this. Suppose the width is 300 now. The width of the element is 300. Suppose the width is 300, yeah. I believe this should be in your video also. Suppose the width is 300 pixels, and we are having a padding of 100 pixels, and we have a margin of yeah, let's say we have a padding of, let me say 20, so I can give you a better illustration. We have this of 50. So now what will be the value of our content? Suppose we are having something like this. Suppose we are having this these are if you go to 30 seconds of okay, let me see if I can remember the website. You can always use this to test your knowledge. 30 seconds of, I think I've done, if I minimize, let me maximize this. I've worked 30 seconds of interview. Is it? Okay, yeah, 30 seconds of interview. You can please try and go through this site. You can always get some interesting questions about some things that you need to know. You have some, yeah, I think, yeah, this is the question. Yeah, now you can see it now. What is the purpose of alt attributes on images? You can always, it provides additional information. We are going to talk about BEM for CSS. This is a BEM method of writing for writing your CSS. So, but most especially, so these are things. What are the advantages of CSS processing? So you can always go this, and I think you can always sort it also. You can sort it by either HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. You can always sort it out. I really like this. And okay, now this is an example of what we did. What's even between this adjacent sibling and a direct sibling? Direct descendant. The general sibling. So this general one selects all the elements of particular sibling, while the adjacent sibling selector select the direct element. So these are just something we have talked about here coming. So this is just can you describe how CSS specificity work? Yes. So these are things that you have worked on, and I believe that you should go to this website to learn one or two things. 30 seconds of interview.org. I don't know who wants it to. I'm just trying to like find a way to improve our skills and knowledge. So try and use it. This is Isiaka. Let's answer a question on the phone. I sent some question there. I've not seen any question on the form, so you can drop your question here. I'll later check. So as I was saying before, we are having this width of 300 pixels, and we're having a padding of 20 pixels, and we have a margin of 20. What will be the value of our content? In our content box, our value will be that same 300. It's not going to remove all this padding and margin from it. So in our content box, it's going to be 300 pixels. But in our border box, it's going to subtract, because we are saying 20, it's going to subtract 20 by the right and 20 by the left. That will be minus 40 here. It's going to minus 40 here, and it's going to minus 100 here. That's going to be 140. So 140 minus 300, that will give us 160. So this is the difference. This is the difference. So if you're having something like this and you have something like this, so in your content is going to be having a bit of this. Why in your border box is going to remove the padding and the margin from the width. Sorry, it's going to remove the padding from the width. It's going to be yeah, it's going to be 160 like this. Let's have an X. I don't think it's going to remove. It's supposed to be minus. If you had 100 there, it's only going to be removing a margin. Let's have an example here. If I'm having, let me just have a div here. Hello, and let's see. We're having this div here as hello. Now I can come here and say our div here, our width is 300 pixels. This is just an illustration of what I've just written. Our padding here is 20 pixels, and our margin here is what do you have? Our margin is 50 pixels. So what will be this part? So what will be the value of our contents? No. Now this is what we have here. You can see our width here is what 58.7. Now add to that this, if you are using this, now if I select this one very well, now you can see that we are having the padding here. If I come here and I select this like this, now we are having 260 by, it's taking this one, these are 50 as our padding, and these are our 20, and these are our contents. So here now, if I'm giving it a height of 300 also, so everything will be red, a height of 300 pixels here. Now everything is 260 by 260. So how do we go about that? It has only removed 40 for the padding. So it's only going to remove the padding. So when we are using a content, because padding is outside, it's outside our content, outside our border. So it's going to remove the value of the padding. The padding here is left and right. So left and right, there is 20, and here also is 20. Why this is also 20, and we're having 260 by 260. But if I choose this one to be content box, our width and height will remain the same. Our width and height, you can see now they remain the same 300. They do not take into consideration the padding. The padding, both left and right, did not take into consideration. But generally, as a developer or as a CSS developer, we are going to be using a border box. That's the one that is generally accepted. I hope that is clear. And there's another thing I would like to talk. When you are writing when you are, the website URL is 30 seconds of interview. Okay, okay. As regards how you are going to save your work, once you are working on Replit, your work gets saved automatically. For example, now this is my Replit now. If I'm on Replit login, I think I can. Your work gets saved automatically, and you can publish your work. When you are through, you can publish it. I even prefer that you submit a publish it, because some of you, after you have been graded, you start making some changes to your work. Then you now come back again and say, okay, the score I have is not supposed to be 2 out of 5. Now you are being cheated. So I will always advise that you publish your work before sending it. So I'm trying to log in now. And I copied the link to my assignment as well, but it's not opening. So see how I'm going to do my own. This should not be an issue. This is something you should have. Is there any default box sizing? Our box sizing, the default is content. The default is content box, but you have to set it to border box. That's why most of the projects you'll be seeing, they always set it to border box. The default is Now, someone that asked if I'm creating another project here, I'm creating HTML CSS here, and I'm calling it introduction class. I'm calling it introduction here. Now, this is working, is loading here. So if I run this now, this is what I run. Now your work automatically gets saved. The only thing is that you might have to run it again. Now I don't need to, we are not writing JavaScript here, I'm removing this. My CSS is already linked, so I can go to my CSS here and I just write a style of code. There is some here. I can just give it another one. Is that box sizing? Box sizing is this is not border box. And I can say my padding is 0 and my margin is 0 to start with. Just like I did, you can just use this all these studio elements, this after comma before. So all these things, I've removed the default. I don't know if this one in their own way they remove it, but to be 100% sure, I'm trying to remove it from my own now. So for you, people that asked the question, now if you're done with this now, if I run this now, maybe it's because because I've removed the padding and margin, it has been under the browser, so I can just write something like this. Okay, my hello world is showing me, and it's just taking my time. So now, for the person that asked the question, if you come here now you can see an option of publish here. This is publish option. This is a publish question here. This is a publish option here. Click on it here, and it will bring you rep description, Zuri training task. You can leave it or you can write it anyhow you want it. It will still work. It's just for your work to be adding tags. You can write anyone you can write HTML. It makes your work to be feasible for other people on Replit, CSS. So that's the tag. You don't need all these things. But you can add it. If you want to upload an image to replace this one, you can do it. Cover page. If you need a cover page, you can always put it. You must submit a template. Now you have to publish it. Now you can see now I've published this work now. This is my link. So this is the link you are going to be submitting. I hope that is clear. Favor. I hope that is clear. Favor. Audio no good, sir. You can't hear me. I hope that is clear. Everything is fine. So that's how, if you copy this now, if I open my incognito browser now, my private browser here, if I'm opening this private browser, if I click on something like this and send it, I will not require to log in. I don't need to log in before it works. You can see it's bringing HTML, CSS, and other things. You can see now I can access my work here. So if you submit this link now, anybody will be able to access it by clicking this now. You can see now it's bringing all this tag in the work so that people can see that this is what you have worked on. Okay, so that's how we are going to be sharing so that's how you are going to be sharing your work. I hope that is clear. VS Code is your text editor code that you are using, but this Replit is just an online text editor that you can use on your phone or on any place like that. like you are going to be using network, but you will not be needing network to use your VS Code. So now I want to discuss about CS, what we call CSS Reset, which I will expect you to put inside our project that we want to work on. It's very important so that it will reduce your stress. Now, opening this browser that I've used it before, I can come here and say CSS Resets. You search for CSS Reset like this. There's one that I really like, Picali. Okay, yeah. So this is a CSS Reset I really like. And you should always try. The reason why you are having CSS Reset is this. There are default value or default settings or default property on your system. So on your CSS, so you need to reset it to one that is suitable for you. For example, the box size in the default is content box, but you are not going to be using content box. You are going to be using border box. So you need to reset it or you need to change it. So that will take us to what we call CSS Reset. You can search for CSS Reset on your system, on your browser. Then you will see one made by Picali blog, a modern CSS Reset. That's the name of it. If you don't get it, you can always come back to me and ask question. How can we link to a CSS file that is stored in a separate folder? This was explained in last class. You just need parts. You can just search for HTML file structure. How you can locate your file. If you are in the same folder, you don't need to just enter the folder name. But if you are in different folder, you have to go to that folder. That would be dot. Just like when we want to open our code, when we want to go back, we are using dot. So we want to go back, we are going to add dot / of the name of that place. Oh yeah, I think I've explained that before. Maybe you didn't attend the class. So this is a CSS Reset that is very interesting. You can always read about this. I can zoom my screen so you can see the website very well. A modern CSS. So try and this is the website. Picali, a modern CSS Reset. It's very good. And it's very good. Most of the frameworks are using it. So you can come here now and you click on. If I copy this now, I've copied it. So this is the CSS Reset. I'll be expecting you to use, and it will be more easier for you to use when you are doing that project as per CSS. So now this is everything I've copied and pasted. Then we can go about it again. Moses, you can always ask your question in a decent way, and you can always ask your question in a decent way, and you always get a feedback. I will not be responding to you, but you can always reach out to the person that graded you, and if you have any complaints, rather than putting this kind of work on the platform. Anyway, Favor, if you are using it and it's okay, that's fine. But what people use mostly is an anchor tag. That's our tag. If it works for you, fine. Nobody will penalize you for it. So this is the CSS Reset. Try and read about it. If you look at it here now, they are removing the default margin, which is very important. They are removing the default margin. So here now, if I were the one, instead of putting this, I would rather put our body should be an height of 100%. So if I'm the one working, this one, my hair, this is very okay, because most time, so the reason why you are having our image should be our maximum width. That means the maximum width is that even if the picture is very, very big, it's very large, it will fit into that container. So our maximum width of the picture should always be 100% of its container. It should be 100% of the container. Why our inputs, everything here should be inherit. But instead of putting this inherit here, I always prefer it to be in the body. So, and this one is removing any animation that is on it and transition that people does not, for people that prefer not to see them. So this is this just for people that if you take a reverse reduce motion and you choose reduce, then it's going to give you this. So this is a very good CSS reset that I would advise you should have in your code. If I save this now and I check my browser again, I should have a more decent work. I think I was using this. Okay, so we are having this. So it removes all the margin, default margin, and default padding. It's going to remove it so that you'll be able to have a better view of your work. Let's see if this. I'm feeling that this is not being removed. Yeah. So that is how it works for CSS. So another thing I'll also be talking about before I quickly jump into the project is our variable. We have variables in CSS. So how do we use it? You will start by declaring the variable inside the root. There's an element called root. You start by what? By declaring your variable inside that root. So if you want to make it global, yeah, to create a variable, you want every part of your CSS to be able to use it. You can always use root. You don't need to use the roots actually, but if you want, maybe you're having different color. For example, now let's move to the project and let's start doing something. I will come here now and I'll open my Figma here. Today, what's your question? I didn't get your question. I want to drop Python and focus on frontend. You want to drop it. We are not talking about that here. Please use the Slack. Use the Slack to ask that question. But for CSS, is it compulsory to copy all we already need? No, copy everything. You'll be needing everything. The reason why you are going to need everything is this. For example, now your H1 or your elements usually have margin, default margin. So you don't need it. So it's going to help you to remove it. Now, if you're having your OL and UL, they usually have our list style. If it is OL, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it is UL, you see that circle there. So it's going to remove it for you, and that is exactly what you need. So this is just a better way of starting your work. Now, it's telling you any image that you have there. Apart from image, you can also put SVG. If you're having SVG, it should take the width of the container that is there, which is very important. Our fonts here should be inherit. That means it should not have any default, and it should use the default one. In the font size and everything, it should be from the body. So this is a good way of starting your work, and that's what just I will advise you to do. So I think I've answered you. Adeni Bukola. Please ask your question. Ask this question on the on Slack. This is not the best time. This is not the best place to ask it. Really, I'll be expecting your question. So now this is what we have here. For those of you interested in there's a new design for we are in October, right? So there's a new design for the October. This is it. I'll click on it so you can see. How do I upload my image on HTML? You are going to be using. Why? Okay, are you on LMS? If you're not on Slack, you should also be on LMS. If you're not on Slack, you'll be on LMS. You open 3 different HTML5 or HTML login, then another CSS page to slide in. You can use a single CSS page like it, and you can use 3 different ones. Everything is fine. So now this is the October challenge. Personally, I've not started because I've been quite busy. I've not even inspected anything on it, but this is the challenge. No, I'm not exporting it right now. So this is how you export actually. You can preview what you have. So this is the icon. So what I'm saying now is this. So this is the October challenge. If you're interested, you can message me on Slack. I'll not be posting this here because we have one at hand. Or if you're interested, this is the mobile view, and that should be fine. That should be fine. I would definitely work on it my whole hand too, but I'm quite a little bit busy for now. So I'll have to do this later. But anyway, this is what we have. But this is not where we are going. I want to check the previous challenge. I want to talk about it and see how we can go about it, how we can use our CSS variable. So now, because if you are using CSS variable, your work will be very easier and be neater. So gradually, we are moving into the project now so that you can see. So this is what we have. I'm going to the design here. Now, if you look at this design that we're having here, we're having the color here look like a dark color. So now we can always have a general color for our body. So there is white here. We have white here. We have some. I'm not good in color. This light blue or something like that. So this other one here, we have a blue color here. All this color now, we are going to extract it here, and let's see how we are going to work on it. So now, since I have something, I've done this, I can come down here also, and I want to add all my colors. I want to use my CSS. I'm talking about CSS Variables now. Now, for you to, if you want, I would like to make this one global. So I will do something like this inside my root here. Inside my root, root elements is where I'm going to declare all the elements I want it to be. All what I want it to be global. It's inside here. I'm going to do it. So now, if you look at it here now, if you look at it, you can say our primary color here is like the black because it takes almost all the page. So now I'll come here now. You go to inspect here, and you can see the color here is what 0, 0. This I'll pick it here now, and I'll come to here. I can zoom this better so that people can see. So I can come here now and say so for you to start, I think this is one of the topic, and I will always advise you, the project you are even working on, try and use CSS variable to go a long way and to make your work presentable. And if you make a mistake, for example, you want to change the margin, maybe you are using a one rem, you don't need to start changing one rem. You can just change one single variable, and everything will work. Everything will work fine. This just try and search for it. It has been discussed before. It is called pseudo elements. Search for pseudo elements. Pseudo element, like an example of pseudo element is the first line. Most of them usually have padding and margin. So the best thing is to remove everyone. You might not be using pseudo elements, but in your work, it is better at least you plan for it ahead. Sammy, I don't understand though. I've answered most of the question. How do we solve all 3 pages? I know we are creating. Okay. I use the form, but no response, sir. Okay, I'll get back to you about it. I've not seen your question. Okay, you said I've responded to your question. Okay. Why are you getting confused? CSS Resets just to remove some default behavior or some default settings so that your work will be neat. You are not in most of the tasks about a project you have been working on or that you have watched. Every mentor there, make sure that your box sizing is border box. That's an example of CSS Resets. You make sure that you are using border box instead of using content box. The default is content box, so you need to use border box. So that was what was explained by CSS Reset. Another thing is that all your elements, your H1, your H2, your H3, your H4, H5, P element and other stuff like that, they have default margin, top and bottom, they have default margin. And this is not something we really like. So the best thing is for us to remove it. That's what we mean by CSS Reset. Try and read much about it. But I think that's just a brief brief. My name is Isiaka, Isiaka or Remlad on Slack. So I think that's just now I'm talking about CSS variable now, because this color now is our primary color. I can say how do I write PRL well, you can write it. I'm just taking my primary color like this. Then I'm giving it this. So now I've declared this now. So I can use this one any place now. I've declared in the root. For example, now if I come here and I say, which element do we have here? My div. Or let me say my body. But the best way, this is just because of the space, the best way to declare your variables at the top, maybe after this. If you are not using this selector, you can always use it, but it's always going to be like this. Just I don't want it to crowd my scribe down. Okay, so this is how we have it. So we have our primary color here now. If I come here and now say my body, and now come here and say my body, I can now say my color, my background color. My background color. Instead of me now, I can now use this variable I've created now. I will now say var. You can see it will bring this suggestion primary color. So now if I go back to I'm using some var. Wow. If I come here now and I open with live server again, so you can see now the color now has appeared here. So this is the first step now. The color of our projects, I would like to have this thing inside beside my work so that it will be easier. Beside this tags here now, we can see now we are having the same color now. So I'm using can see now this our page is now like this, just like this one now, just like this now. Oh, just like this, our page is now like the color. We are now having the same color. Now I can also come here because most of the color here they are white. I can come here and say that color. You can give it anything, but it must start with these two prefixes. It must start with this this thing. If you didn't put these two, it will not work. You have to start with these two prefixes here like this. These two prefixes, just like I've done here. I want to now, this is the two prefixes, then I'll write color white here. Here I can say our color white is FFF. That's also, we have been taught that in the CSS color that I made. Then if you now come here and now say our color here should be, then you can start using something like now. Our color here is white. Now, you can see now, if I want to change, if I want to change this color now to red, I don't need to come here again to start changing. I just need to come here. Suppose I've used this this var color in like 10,000 places. I don't need to change it. Like now, assuming it is white, I've written here, assuming I've put in FFF here. If I want to change, maybe my Oga said, okay, instead of using white, use red. If I'm to use red now, definitely in the 10,000 places, I have to search through it and change it from one after the other. But with that of VS Code, you can still do it, but it's not the best way. So it's better when you have a global property or global value, you can definitely put it here and you are going to be able to use it anytime. So now this will go everywhere. You can see now my hello here is now what? Is now Y. So these are ways of doing it. So we can still continue from the page here. Apart from it, now let's talk about the fonts also. If I go here now and let me zoom more, you can see the font used here is Rubik. The font used here is Rubik. So now, to go about it now, we need to. I don't have Rubik. If I go back, if I go here and say font family, there's nothing like font family. There's nothing like Rubik here. There's nothing like this Rubik. So there's no Rubik here. So it's not going. This one is not going to work. So the best thing to do is now go to Google Fonts. So that will lead us to another place called Google Fonts. So here now, as our Google Fonts, you will look for it here. By clicking on this, you search for Google Fonts. To actually say in the tags, the mistake we make was that it's supposed to give you some tags that you need to use a particular or a special font that you are going to search for it. Now, in here, you are going to look for Rubik. If I look for Rubik here, let's see if there's, you can see that there's Rubik here. So I'll just click here. Now, I'll click here now. These are the Rubik here. You can choose to download the fonts. I don't need this. What I only need is, I need the regular here. Well, I need the medium. Well, I think that's all I need. Most people just copy the medium or the regular, and that's all. Then, if you look at it here now, let me expand this better because of what you're going to be seeing on your screen. Now, if you come here now, it's telling me to what? View selected. It's telling me to view selected families. Now, if I click on this one now, you will see now it's bringing the selected family I've selected. I've selected Rubik or regular of 400 and of 300 of 500. Do I need to select 300? Let me see. Though, yeah, the regular is okay now. So now this is what we have now. With this now, you can use two ways. You can use link it in your HTML, or you can link it in your CSS. If you are linking it in your HTML, you copy this like this. Then you go to your you go to your CSS like this. Where is it, sir? Okay. You go to your CSS, you go to your HTML here. I can expand this a little bit. Before we have this here, you can just copy it here and you save. Now you go back here now. So for you to link it, you just copy this and put it in your font family. So now this is how our font family works. So this is how our font family works. I hope that is clear. So now if I go back to the to this place now, this if I inspect, I have an extension called fonts, what's font. It's going to tell you the type of font that's on the page. Now if I go here now, it's telling me sans serif. The family is Rubik here. So it's telling me the font family here is what? The font family I'm using is what? Is Rubik. And if you inspect here now, just like we have fonts, we always have fallouts. Is it backup fonts or fallout fonts? That if one of the fonts is missing, the other one will be used. Okay, I have to exit this. We can see now this is our font family. So that's how we are going to work about it. So more of it is, I'm trying to see your question. We're having fewer time. So now that's how we're going to do it. So now the task for those of us that is following with that you are following with the tutorial of the Crapo app. Now I want you to extract all the color we have. I want you to extract it. Now if I still continue like this, now we have this white color, right? We have this, you can call it color white here. This white color. I don't think this one too is white. Or you can always inspect it to make sure that it's white. It's white. There's another color here. This one is not white. It's called gray. So you can come here and now say dot gray. My gray here is this. I want you to extract all the color on the Figma. Extract it like this. So this is what we have here. This gray. So what other one do we have apart from that? We have this blue color here. So you can call here and say blue. I always prefer using something that is common. So what's not to be 3 is 2. CLR3. Now you can also come here again and say CLR blue. That will be color blue. Then you are going to do something like this. Okay, so what else do we have? What other color do we have? You can always scroll down. So you can always name. So what make your words, you can say this is what for colors. So these are the colors. This is another color here. This is another color here. It is this. You can name it anything because my own, I can call it, what do they call it here? Light blue. I can call this light blue. You can call it anything you like on your own end. So I have this like this. So I want to make sure you extract all the colors you have on the page. That's a good way to start our work. Now, another thing, after extracting it, yeah, you can continue from there. So I believe if you are going to be having another class, you should have extracted all the colors here. So these are the colors I can find there now. Now let's talk about fonts. Before that, let me check 1 or 2 questions before that. Now, if you look, I'm going to maximize my screen so that we can all see. Okay, you can always declare that that one is not an issue. I'm going to declare it. If you like, you can do, yes, and it's best way to do it is also to declare it because we have more than one font there. When I'm expecting it, we are going to talk about we have more than one font there. So if you are going to do it, you will need to also you need to use variable also for it. But the best way is, let me just give you an example of how you can use it there. Now, instead of I can come here and say my font family FF main. For the person that asks, FF main should be this. I can expand this a bit. My FF main should be this. For the person that asks, thank you. Now you can come here. Our font family here should be FF main. So this is how you use it. I hope that is clear about it. So now please extract all the colors. I can see in my own work I've done, I have seen a lot of color here. Please make sure you extract all of them. So now let's go back to the fonts. I'm going to expand all this so that we can see it better. So this is what we have. Let me minimize this. Now, if you look at it here, all this our link. And there's something I always like to do. I always like to set, instead of the default font size here is 16 pixels. The default font size here is what? 16 pixels. But you can always take it, you can always use rem. You can always use rem for you to use rem, for you to make, instead of 16 pixels, you can always use 10 pixels. And the way to do it is just come to your body here, and you said it should be our font size here should be 62.5%. By setting this as 62.5%, your 1 rem now, if you are using our 1 rem now, this one will now make it to be our 1 rem here. So our one with this, our 1 rem will be equals to 10 pixels. So if they put for example, now they said, if they say for example, now the font size of this input, I need to maximize it so we can all see. The font size for this, let's see, is what? The size is 16 pixels. So now instead of writing 16 pixels here, it's going to be 1.8. I'm looking for a best way of doing it. Yeah. So instead of you writing 16 pixels here, you are going to be writing 1.6 rem. So now we have declared our font size. We can say font size fs normal. The normal font size is, you can say, is 1.6 rem. You can always do your own yourself. Now I'm setting the font now. This one is 1.6 now. So the nav link, they are all 1.6. This one, if you look at it here, the font size here is 18 pixels. You can always so now that will be 18 pixels here will not be 18. So our let me say our fs. But it depends on how you can name it here. When one challenge I had with them is naming. So you always make sure that you put a name that you can easily remember. You always put a name that you can easily remember. I can say font size of large, but let me say medium. Because I've changed it to, that will be 1.8 rem. So now so make sure you extract all the fonts, because there are some of them are the same. This one is big, right? This one is big. What's the font size here? Is 64. So the font size here is 64. So the best way to do is come here now and write, let me say fs. It is the largest largest font size there. I can say fs x large. Our fs large is 64 pixels. That will be 6.4 rem. So now you now going to, we have 2 minutes left. We are going to extract all the fonts. Some of them are the same. For example, this one now, let me see. This one here is 16. So we have already extracted. So that's 1.6. You don't need it. Then this one too. This one is 16 also. What's this? This one is what? This one is also 16. For this text, what's the font here? Is 1.8. We have extracted it. So this is the better way of doing things. Now this one is 40 pixels. You can say large. It's not too convenient for me. So we can say large. Yeah, this one is that would be, let's say, our fs large. Our fs large should be 4 rem. You can see now that's our fonts. This one here is 16. We have already extracted 16. We have extracted all this one. So that's how you are going to do everything. Now we can also come to font weights. Font weights here. You can just put font size here. Now for our font weights here now, let me just expand it. Minimize this. Our font weight here, if you look at this font weight here, we have 700. Apart from 700, what's this one? Font weight here, we have 600. But if I were you, what I usually like to do is this. I can just put my FW 600 should be 600. And the other way is you can also come here and set. You can also say W600 here should be 600, so that if you want to declare it, so it won't be difficult. Now you can come here now and say, here now you now say var W600. So this is a way of doing it, or you can just put 600. You know that it's not going to be changing. You can just put 600 like this. You can put 700. I think the largest is 700. Some are 500. So you can do FW of 500. So that will be 500. So please, now if you are following me with this task, make sure you extract all the color, all the fonts. Make sure you extract all the color, all the fonts, and yeah, the color. What else again do we need to extract from this place? Extract all the color, all the fonts, and all the images. Extract it in your folder. How you are going to extract images? I think I explained in last class. So please go through it. This is just an image. Some of you are having challenge with it. This is just a single image. So don't bother about yourself about how you are going to design this. This is just an image. All these ones, they are just export them as PNG. This one too is just an image. Yeah, don't bother about it. This one you are going to design this. This one too is an image. You don't need to design the card. It's just an image. This one too is just an image here. This one is an image here. Just export it. This one too is an image. Just export this one also. You can design this. You can design all this. Yeah. So that takes us to the end of today's class. I've already exhausted them. Maybe the prof started calling me on the phone now. So please, I'll be looking at your question and see if I can. I think you are just joining the class, so we'll be seeing in so that's just about it. Please need to copy. If the Figma file is view only, go to this place. Okay, because it's not my. If it is view only, just that you see an option here. Just go there and copy to draft. Copy it to your own draft. So it will be your own copy. You'll be the owner. Copy to your own draft. So that's all about it. I don't have the slang. Is that a task? This is not a task. This is confusing. Sorry about that. It is possible if you are having issue. For example, now you want to export this now, and you are having issue. If you want to click on this now, it's going to it's joining here. This is it, but the whole image is it here. The whole image here is locked here. Once you click on it here, then you can now go to inspect here. Oh, sorry, design. Oh, I've clicked on something else. You can go to design like this. Once you go to design, go down. You are going to see export here. Then you can export it. You can preview it before you export it. So you can see now this is my own that I'm exporting. So I believe that's clear. Please, if you have any other question, message me on Slack. Time is not by our side. Yes. So please, I've given you a task now. If you are going to be following us to do this project, make sure you convert all your images and your fonts into a variable so that you can easily use it to style the project. This is a project you can put inside your portfolio, so which is very good for you. So Ali Kinde, please, if you have any further question, you can always message me on Slack. So with this being said, we are going to see it tomorrow by God's grace. So thank you all for joining the class. You can send me a message on LMS. You can send me a message on. It's not advanced, so it's just basic thing you need to know. I don't have Slack. Okay, make a post on LMS. Make a discussion and tag me, or possibly I'll try and okay. Okay, just put a message on Slack, then we'll talk about it. So that's all about it. So I hope this will be a little bit clear to everyone. But this is just a better way of doing it. And because you're also going to be writing a project, you're going to be designing, interpreting a project. So this is the best way to go about it, because most times you can be the only developer, or despite that you don't know anything, you might be the most senior developer among them. So you need to be prepared. I've explained how, please explain how to export image again. Just click on the image. This is the image like this. This is the image. If suppose you click on this, and this is not what you want, go back to this table. Go to the right sidebar here. Go back to this table, and it will highlight everything. If you click on this, it will highlight one. Click on this, it will highlight another one. But if you click on this, the main one, that's the group one, then it's going to go. Then you are going to export it. Thank you all for joining. See you next time. Bye.